On this day in history, 1956, Elvis made his movie debut in Love Me Tender. Man, talk about a guy who always looked cool, even under duress. I mean, come on, Charo? Just awesome. Maybe I'm just a sucker for Westerns. As a kid, I always wanted to be in one of those intense action scenes. But based on how I react when the toast pops out of the toaster, I've realized that I'll never look cool walking away from an explosion. Live from Wattpad Nation, it's the Corner Booth, your weekly broadcast where we talk about all things centered around the big orange W. And tonight we are very excited to bring you episode 33, Half Full, Half Empty. And, you know, we understand that, you know, this is the halfway mark of NaNoWriMo. For all of you participating, hopefully your word counts are very healthy and big. But even still, even if you're getting those numbers that you want to see, there are times when self-doubt really tries to step in and ruin the day. So tonight we're going to dig in and hopefully figure out a way to redirect that self-doubt and get you back on track. And I have an amazing panel. Tonight we have 4 very lovely panelists that are going to answer some pretty cool questions. Hopefully you're going to think they're cool. But before that, I'd like to embarrass them with something that we call the high five. And it's just a really fun way for us to introduce you to them. And if you're familiar with rebus puzzles, or also known as pictogram puzzles, these are going to be games for you. Now, I kind of went over some of the basics with the panel before we started the broadcast, and I'm going to show you exactly what they saw. Now, this is right here is the puzzle. Ignore everything else that's on Dropbox. But this is the answer to this puzzle, of course, is what goes up must come down. These are common phrases that are split up in a creative way. Now, the second one that they saw was this one, which of course is crossbreeding. So hopefully we're going to have a really, really good time with this. I'm going to keep score, and you know, the panelist that wins is going to get, you know, a digital high five from me. So let's get this going. All right, we got. All right, panel. Hopefully you guys are ready for this. I'm hoping. You guys can see the screen, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, yes, Jessica?
Well, I don't think I have it, so I am stupid. I was going to say, stupid is as stupid does, but that doesn't work.
Hey, I thought that too.
Let's see if anybody from the chat has it. Hang on. Okay. Ricky Pine says, I'm surrounded by idiots? Not really, though.
I really don't know. I mean, I think...
All right. Well, we got lots of these puzzles, so hopefully you guys are going to get some down the line. This is downright stupid.
Oh.
Yeah? Yeah.
I mean, when you say it, like, of course, how stupid.
Yeah. Of course, I see it now. All right,
this is the dose of humble pie.
Yeah. Here we go.
Moral decline?
Very close.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, I know. Moral.
Yeah, yes, Mary? You know it? Just chime in.
Fiber.
Oh, that would have been good. No, it is not moral fiber. It is moral support.
Moral support.
All right, next puzzle. Here we go. I want somebody to get points.
Oh, half-hearted.
Oh,
Jessica, yeah.
I thought it was still downloading.
All right, here we go. I really want to know if anybody on the live chat's got this one. Oh, Ricky Pine got half-hearted. Carl O'Connor, ooh, moral stand. That would have been good.
I don't know. Blue blood? I have no idea how that would work, but...
No, that's not a group. That's not a blood
All right,
type.
this is Beaten Black and Blue.
Oh, I
Oh.
know that one.
Black and blue. That's a
Didn't
good
know
one.
that one.
That's a good one. I like that one too. Here we go.
Oh, Deep in Thought?
Yes, Camille!
Nice.
Tied up the game.
How did you get that?
Very nice. And here we go. I think I got, what, like 2 more of these?
I see.
Deep in Thought? Yeah. Way to go, Camille. That was awesome.
Hey. No. Not Two of Hearts. I don't know.
The Lonely Heart?
Ooh, that would have been good. Lonely Heart. No, it's not Lonely
Two
Heart.
hearts become one. 2 hearts is one.
No, this is Heart to Heart.
Oh.
Yeah, I was. Man, light bulb's perfect. wish
I
could
think
capture
it
that.
looks like they're shunning that other heart.
All right, here's the last puzzle of the evening.
It's My Life.
New.
Now Bon Jovi's in my head.
One.
One Life to Live? No.
For my life.
I'm just guessing now.
For my life.
Oh, you're very close, Marion.
My life for.
This is For Once in My Life.
All my life. All my
Oh.
All
Well,
right,
I have
Jessica,
to point
Camille,
out-
high five each other because you guys tied that game.
More than one is in life, so it's not just one life.
4 ones in my life. 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, 4. Shoot, they got it right. They were good.
Yeah. All right, well, we hope you had fun with that. And, yeah, we got Marion, Jessica, David, and Camille on this panel tonight. And we're scooting over to my favorite part of the broadcast, cream or sugar. And why is it my favorite part? Because it gives us a chance to put you, Wattpad Nation, in the spotlight. And this panel, each and every one of them, they are going to share with you a cream, a relatively unknown Wattpadder who has risen to the surface, or at least that panelist library, or an established Wattpadder. They just want to show some love, give them some sugar. And I'm going to start with Marion. What do you got for us?
So my cream is for Hazel123. She's written a really intriguing story called Stripes, which is a really interesting read about how what life could be like if being gay was actually normal and being straight was wrong. And it's had over 250,000 reads, which is amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just basically a very ripping, very complex story, and I really honestly would love to know how she got hold of all those ideas, because I'd never imagined ever thinking up something like that. So I'll just read you the synopsis.
Those are the best kind of writers, though. The ones that just completely throw you off kilter. Just wow, I would have never thought of this. That is awesome.
In
Well,
the world
thank you,
where
Miss
gay
Marion.
is right. No problem.
Yeah. All right, Jessica, who do you got for us this week?
Well, today I have a cream at Ivory Anna. She's a really encouraging and a fantastic young Wattpadder, and she's just made my day so many times with her encouragement and her support, but she's also a strong developing writer in her own right. I got to read one of her gothic horror shorts as well as her newest project, which is called A New Generation of Pan, which is a Peter Pan and Wendy fan fiction that kind of re-envisions the story, particularly as told by Disney, and moves the story forward. And overall, she's just a really fun person to chat with and to talk stories to, as well as a very creative individual.
That's great. It really sounds intriguing. Absolutely.
Oh, Peter Pan's one of my favorite stories.
Exactly. I love it when people, they have the audacity? No, that's not the right. The confidence. I'll say that. I would never be able to tackle that. And the fact that this person's actually doing it, hats off. Seriously, that's amazing. David, what do you got for us?
I wanted to give some sugar to Kate Huxwell. She's been on Wattpad for quite some time, and I'm sure a lot of people already know about her. Her Rain series is into book 3, and one of the reasons I wanted to give her a shout out tonight because she's working on book 3 as part of NaNoWriMo. And the book 1, as you have up, is Hell's Rain, and it's a great book. She's really delves into the characters, creating very memorable ones with a deep mythology. And there's lots of action and romance in all of the books, so I highly recommend her excuse me, her Rain series as well as her other books.
Just the cover alone, you're reeled in. I mean, I'm sure, I know that you probably can talk just nonstop about how great her writing is, but man, I mean, the cover really pulls you in on this one.
Oh yeah, no, her writing is really strong. Just one of the great writers of Wattpad, and the Rain series I mentioned, but yeah, it's about a half human, half demon bounty hunter called Rain, and over the 3 books, it really takes you on a journey.
Oh, are all 3 books available on Wattpad?
Book 3 is in progress, but book 1 and 2 are complete.
That's awesome.
Yeah, It's good if you want to get into something.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. Camille, what do you got for us?
I am recommending a book that Wattpad actually recommended to me, and unlike the other computer-generated list, they actually got this one right for me. It's called As They Rise, and it's by a user @JenMarieWild. I don't know the user. It's normally not the type of book I would read because it involves zombies, and I'm a big wuss. But I've recently got into The Walking Dead, so I figure if you have good storytelling along with zombies, I can handle it. And Jen Marie Wild does not disappoint. I'm only in the beginning so far. I'm just in the first few chapters, but I'm really enjoying it. And I'll just read you a little snippet from the blurb, which I think says it all. A kick-ass young girl, a nation swarming with zombies, and a sweet romance that grows amongst the ruins. That has everything I need in a book, so I was sold.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hello. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, panel, and hopefully you all viewing this live, thank you so much for tuning in live. I believe we have, 8 people here right now? That's who I got. Carl, Lucy, Rachel Mole is here. Hello, Rachel. Jody, hello. At least those are the people that are talking to us. Please, if you're watching this as a live broadcast, check out this live chat. We'd love to talk with you. Or if you're watching this as a recording, you can either leave comments down below this video or use our hashtag on Twitter, TCBWatt. Ask us any questions during these broadcasts, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Now, we are scooting over to the meat of the discussion, which we call the entree. And like I said, this week we're kind of tackling the concept of self-doubt. It goes in a lot of different directions, but one of the biggest things is, for those of you who are hardcore NaNoWriMo participants, there's one thing fast approaching. It's called a deadline. The end of November is well on its way. For some, 50,000 words is sounding more and more like an impossible feat. Jessica, how do you manage deadlines?
Well, first, just a word of encouragement. Even if you haven't written a single word to date, and most of you probably have, you can absolutely make it to the end. So as long as you keep writing, remember, you're still winning. You just need to build the city one block at a time or eat the elephant one bite at a time, whichever metaphor you prefer, violence or constructive. But as far as being practical, I would say for managing this deadline, you need to have a good grasp of where you are. So look at how many words you have left to write, divide it by the number of days you can write. So if you can't write on Thanksgiving, don't include it, and find out what your new target word count is. But remember, this is going to take a lot of discipline, and consider what's been working for you, what hasn't, and if you need to stop being on Pinterest, get off Pinterest. I just, and this was an article that I just wrote for the Watt Padres, which is on establishing focus. And there are programs that you can use to temporarily block websites or internet access to certain things, but you can still keep it up for research or email. And there's some minimalist writing apps out there like Focuswriter or OmWriter, so you can pull that up and get some specific instances in there. And in terms of, let's see, I guess just another specific thing for managing this deadline would be try to set aside an extra 15 minutes of writing. Even if you meet your goal for that day, just try to overshoot your word count by a couple hundred words each day and then fit it in, because it really does pay off. And Thanksgiving is just going to chew up all of our time because family, they want us to spend time with them, I think. I think that's what they... I know.
The nerve.
I know. But that would be how I'd manage the deadline, really just making sure you take it in little steps. Don't get so overwhelmed by the end that you forget to take the step toward the end.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Absolutely. Alrighty, so let's scoot over to our first question of the evening for this entire panel. That's just, the whole deadline thing was something I just wanted to pick Jessica's brain on. Put her in the hot seat for a second. Number one, when you're writing on the clock, there's a certain amount of anxiety attached to the work. How do you keep your focus on the words and not the time? I'm going to start with Miss Marion.
Well, first thing I'd say is keep the clock in mind, but don't let it become an obsession. Because basically, what you have to do is focus on the fact that you're writing for you, not for the clock. That's what matters. And don't be afraid to take a break. If you're feeling not happy with what you're writing, then you must take that break, or you'll regret sending work you are not comfortable with.
You regret pressing enter. Yeah, I think we've all been there. Absolutely. I'm going to scoot over to David.
I think the key, especially with something like NaNoWriMo, is just consistency. Like, just, don't worry about getting your 1,667 words in every day, but just try to write every day. Just to set aside a bit of time, whether it's half an hour or 15 minutes while you're on the bus, pull out your phone and start typing. I think so long as you keep moving forward, you'll get there eventually.
Sure. David, do you write in sprints like that when you just have 15 minutes free and then you just go at it real fast?
When I can. I managed to get in about 500 words this afternoon while some other people were watching the football game. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, see, for me, I think it would take me 15 minutes just to get in that frame of mind of, now it's time to write. It's kind of like people that go to the gym, and not saying that I do this, people that go to the gym and spend like half an hour looking for the right song to start with. It's just, that's kind of how it happens. Oh, Camille, how do you keep your focus on the writing and not the clock?
I don't. I have not yet. I've not yet had to write under any kind of deadline. I am horrible with, thankfully, I'm horrible with deadlines. I'm supposed to have my book to my editor today, and I've still 3 chapters to go, and I'm here talking with you guys. So I'm actually hoping to learn something about motivation.
Bad for you.
I know, I'm horrible. But I think everyone's right. You've got to set a schedule for yourself. You have to, I'm with David. Anytime I have a moment of free time, I pull out my iPad, I carry it with me everywhere. If it's at my kids' swim meet or whatever, I write whenever I get the opportunity to. So I think if you just get yourself in the habit of doing that, the clock kind of becomes obsolete. You're writing all the time.
I like that. Right to the point where the clock doesn't matter. That's great.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Well, first, I love Camille's advice about write so that the clock doesn't matter. I think that's fantastic. In terms of adding to that, I like to take a couple minutes to set the mood or tone, even if I'm only going to be writing for 15. Though you're right, you've got to watch it. You can't spend your whole time like, where's that perfect song? So if I have pictures that are really inspiring me, I look at them, and this is actually where I do use Pinterest with various inspirational pieces to help me. And then if I can focus with music on that day, then I'll put some on. I really like instrumental, particularly Audio Machine. They do some fantastic instrumental epic songs. And I really enjoy Piano Guys. And a lot of days, if I'm able to, I'll try to outline in a notebook where I want the scene to go. Now, oftentimes that's not where I go, but there's something about just writing down where I think it's going to go that starts getting my mind working, and then I'm able to dig back into the story and keep writing and get it done. My characters enjoy completely defying me, but it still pays off.
I like that. I like it a lot. All right, let's. I want to address something that we got from, or that I kind of sifted off of the cafe forum. It is from @Cake Clockwork. Yeah, Cake Clockwork. Who asked on the forum, "What's the biggest obstacle you've encountered while writing?" And I'm going to give this one to Marion and David. Marion, you want to kick this one off first?
So, what's the biggest obstacle I've encountered while writing? Distractions.
I think that everybody has those. Is there something in particular that, is it Pinterest? Are you addicted to Pinterest?
No, I don't have Pinterest. It's Facebook and TV, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, those are the same evil kind of, thing. But I know some people, they're just like pin. Yeah. David.
I don't know. That's like one of those questions where it's like, what's my biggest problem today? There's just so many to choose from. So I'm actually having a problem with my NaNoWriMo work right now, so I thought that might be a good thing to bring up. And essentially the problem is I'm racing through the story way too quickly. I'm going to finish it well before November and well before 50,000 words.
Oh, wow.
So now I'm looking, like I'm staying up at night thinking about chapters I can insert in to round it out more, and like start thinking like, well, in my race to get through this, what have I missed, and what scenes did I not include that should be included?
Sure. Do you see this as an opportunity to kind of rich in your backstory?
I'm not looking too much at the backstory, actually. I'm looking at just things that I skipped over, with having too loose an outline and try to write like 3,000 words in a day and stuff like that, and you realize, oh well, that should have been 3 chapters, not 2 chapters. And I missed a whole chance to actually explore something between 2 characters, or to drop a hint for the plot, or something like that.
See,
I love how. Sorry.
No, go for it, Camille.
I was going to say, I love how you phrased it, Nat, to David. Do you see this as an opportunity? We all know what David sees this as right now, a big old problem that he has to go back and deal with. You're so silver lining to that.
I'm more glass half full, It's
just, you are totally half full. That's great.
It's just, I think, oh man, you could have made this fight it could have been more brutal, or that kiss could have been deeper, or this one antagonist could have.
No, you're absolutely right. But there's that initial feeling of, oh crap, I have to go back.
Well, see, that's the thing. I wouldn't have gone back. That wouldn't have been my knee-jerk reaction. I would have just been like, oh, let's see how much crap we can put at the end of this to make it.
Just draw it out.
Exactly. Just beat that dead horse. That's awesome. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that, David. I think that a lot of people have those that particular problem. Absolutely. All right, question number 2. It's absolutely imperative to be optimistic throughout the writing process. Unfortunately, self-doubt and inner critics tend to push writers into pessimism. How do you stay glass half full? Jessica?
Well, I regularly remind myself why I'm writing, for one. I'm writing because I love it, because I love the characters, and because I want these stories to be finished. And if I died and didn't finish them, I'd have to come back as a ghost and haunt people to act out my stories.
I'm going to haunt you into finishing this story for me.
Well, no, I'm going to make them act it out, which would be terrible, because, that would be worse. I think it'd be better just to start a movie and, get professional people to act it out. But anyway... and also because I love hearing what the readers I already have to say. I mean, that has helped keep me on track. But I also keep a file with encouraging things that people have told me about my writing, or at least some of the things that have been said. I will say the biggest secret, though, that I found when I'm feeling pessimistic and down is to be kind to other people and encourage them. So far, I haven't met anyone who really couldn't stand with truthful and sincere encouragement or something similar. And the strange thing that I have found is that when I focus on being kind and compassionate to other people, it sometimes helps me pull out of this inner morass. And it doesn't always work, but it works a lot of the time. And other times I, of course, just decide I'm taking a break and I'm not going to do what's best, so I curl up with a big blanket, a nice cold Coke, a bag of Doritos, and binge watch Netflix while I feel sorry for myself.
That's awesome. That sounds like my kind of night.
It's like, and then you move on from there. You keep going. But I've found that those are the ways that I keep the glass filling up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jess. Marion, how do you stay on the right side of optimism?
Well, obviously that's easier said than done, but I'll try and look at it this way. Well, that's what I actually said to someone on Wattpad who's been having some issues with people being mean about her story. Out of all your feedback, how much is positive and or constructive? How much is not? And if the latter wins, then don't worry about it. If it is, if it's a negative list, the majority, then maybe that means you should take another look at the story.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think that, your readers, they can tell you what's working and what's not, but you also got to think about the ones that kind of just bash the story for the sake of bashing it. Yeah, it's just, what are you even doing on here? I've seen that happen a lot. But I think more often than not, especially on Wattpad, you find very grateful readers that really want to either, read the story and enjoy it for what it is, or are writers that, are actively interested in it and want to help you out in whatever capacity they can, more often than not. Camille, how do you stay glass half full?
Full of liquor. How do I... we all go down into the dumps, and I really liked what Jessica said about helping other people, because I didn't think about that, but it's true. I find myself doing that when I'm doubting myself. If I can't help myself, then I can go help at least somebody else. But I think an important thing to do, and Wattpad has helped a lot with this, is kind of form a tight, supportive circle around you and insulate yourself with it. And when you have self-doubts, you can go to those people, those friends, those other writers who have read your work and who know you and can give you the swift kick in the butt that you need, or slap you silly until you're kind of seeing clearly again. Sometimes it also helps if I reread my work, because even though I see about a million things that are wrong with it every time I read it, I also will see something that I kind of can't believe that I actually wrote, that I came up with, and that kind of and I'm like, ooh, that sounds almost professional, and I get a little spark in me to keep going.
That's great. I think that everybody has to have those moments of, I'm going to throw a party for myself because I can't believe I wrote that. Big pat on the back. We actually got a question from one of my favorite people in the world. Her name's Rita Kovac. She asks in the live chat feed, panel, can you give some examples of self-doubt? And hopefully these are common ones. I think they can be. They possibly could be unique. But I'm just going to go down the line. And Marion, is there an example that you have of self-doubt?
Actually, I was somewhere in the middle of 4 Elements Book 2, Fight and Feel, and I started to realise that that was not at all what I'd intended, but I focused a lot more on the love triangle in the book.
Oh, the love triangle?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the main plot, which was battle of elements versus demons, basically. So I was thinking, oh crap, that's not at all what I wanted to do. So should I start again, try it and make it less so, or maybe can it work? I don't know. And I still sort of, I'm not certain, but so far I've left it sort of focused on the triangle, because I think it's important in the way that it helps the characters grow in a way, because what they live as humans obviously affects what they do when they're fighting the demons. It will impact anything they do in their life. So.
Well, I think one of the greatest things about that situation is that you found out what was important to you. That this was something that you were writing, and you made it a point to say, okay, this part of the story, that's going to mean something to me. So I want to share that, because if it means something to me, it's going to mean something to somebody else, and it's going to connect somehow. So I think that's really great. Jessica, can you give us an example of a moment of self-doubt?
Just one?
Yeah, just one. I know this is just,
Yeah,
we're writers, Dad. We're writers.
That's right. It is. Self-doubt shows up just about every single day, and it's like this enormous delusion of, oh my goodness, I am just a faker. I'm a total imposter. And I'm just waiting for everyone to realize, oh my goodness, this is the crappiest story I've ever read. Why on earth would you even think you could write? And yeah, it's a very strange thing, because it doesn't matter that there are people who tell me you're crazy or whatever. Like, no, I am not a good writer, and eventually everyone's going to know, and I should probably just give it up, but I can't, because I'm totally insane and have to keep doing this. It's like being a writer is this insane fear of being entirely inadequate and yet constantly putting yourself out there for rejection. So,
I never really thought about that. Yeah. That is a really good definition of insanity. Yeah,
because we're not truly. I mean, we say, okay, I'm writing for me, and in one sense, that's true. But if that was entirely true, we wouldn't be putting it on Wattpad or other places all knotted up about, does anyone like it? Because we do care, and
exactly.
so
somewhere subconsciously.
Yeah.
I want somebody else to like this. I want somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we write for others, basically. We write for ourselves, but we write for others.
And we're faking so many things we've never ever done before. I mean, I've never flown without a plane, and so I'm completely lying about this. It's just constant lying. That's why we're always insecure.
That, you know what? The psychology behind it, I totally buy it. I do. David, a moment of self-doubt?
I feel like saying ditto to what Jessica just said. But one good example was when I was working on the first book of The Things We Bury, which is a series I planned out to be 3 books. And right near the end of it, I was sort of convinced that it was just a giant waste of time. Nobody was interested in what was happening to these characters. And I kind of put up a message to the reader saying, okay, well, I think I'm not going to write the 2nd or 3rd book. Like, it's time to move on to a different project. And didn't really mean to throw a pity party for myself, but sort of was the
end effect. But a lot of people came to that pity party, didn't they? And they were just like, David, what are you doing? Yeah,
and it really helped. Getting that support was kept me going, and that's it. I'm working on book 2 now. So
that's great. I mean, it's kind of like emotional crowdsourcing, or sourcing. You want to just feel that, and I think some people, they do it inadvertently. It's kind of like your situation where, oh crap, I didn't realize that I was throwing myself a pity party until I read it again, or the message. And I think it's great that one of the many great things about Wattpad is when you start accruing an audience, especially a rather large one, then without even realizing it, you're going to see some backlash if you decide to make a terrible decision, like not continuing a story. Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome. Great, David. Camille, self-doubt?
I just want to second what everybody else said and triple it by like 1,000. But I mean, I think just to sum all this whole self-doubt thing up, it makes me feel better knowing all the doubt that you guys feel. People that I respect and I admire and I think know what they're doing and have their stuff together. Knowing that you go through the same things kind of makes me feel a little bit less like a fraud. So I appreciate it.
At least, just a minimal amount at the very least. Yeah. I got you. All right, let's scoot on over to question number 3. There will always be those who, for whatever reason, belittle your work. And yes, we all know the obvious way to deal with this, but sometimes what they say can really get underneath your skin. Share a time when this has happened to you, and if this has never happened to you, I'm insanely jealous, and how would you help someone dealing with the situation? Marion!
Okay. So, well, it wasn't actually about my book per se. It was about the cover.
Somebody belittled your cover?
Well, no, not exactly.
Okay, so what happens? I'm sorry.
I'd had a cover for, it was No Way in Heaven or Hell actually, and I'd realised that I'd gotten in word that some pictures could be subject to copyright. So I found another one which which was the actual current cover, which normally wasn't subject to copyright, and she left this kind of furious comment. When I had warned her, I'd said, I'm sorry, I really like your cover, but I'm not going to be able to keep it for copyright reasons, because I thought that's just the thing to do. You better know. And she left this incendiary comment saying, I worked for hours on it, and you just toss it away. And I had kept it for several months, and I'd warned her, so there was not more else I could do. And I felt sorry for her, but I mean, she'd spent hours on the cover, yes, but I'd spent hours and weeks and months, well, maybe not months, but at least weeks, on the story. So, kind of not the same level. So, but what I did to that was just stay polite. I'd say when you get that sort of situation, the only best thing to do is stay polite, because when people will see the exchanges, especially online, and what's online never leaves online, no matter how many times you delete it. And your comments will reflect on you. If you leave brutal, short comments, they'll know. If you leave polite comments, they'll know too. And second, don't let it get you down, because haters gonna hate, and whatever any
Very Taylor Swift of you, Marion.
Whatever any of us do, writers or not, someone isn't going to like it. So we just have to focus on what we believe. If we believe in what we do, then the factors don't matter.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, of course. Well, okay. You said stay polite. I think this might be a cultural difference thing, but it's really hard to stay polite sometimes. And
yes,
maybe that's just because, I don't know if we just have a more rigid culture in America. But, I mean, even when, like, for example, even when people of, I want to say, like, British, Canadians, people like that, like, they're notoriously polite. Like, those two countries. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know how you got that stereotype.
I did want to be a lot firmer and harsher than I was, but I thought it's not going to help matters. It's only going to make it worse. So I thought
maybe I'm just more hot-headed. I don't know. It seems like, man, manners are probably one of the first thing that leaves if I'm really ticked off about something. It's I don't care about the whole please and thank you thing, whatever, heat of the moment kind of deal. But it's good that you're able to hang on to that, because, like I said, I struggle with that. Jessica!
Alright, well, I actually, as soon as I read, so thinking of this question, there's one incident that came up, and I actually printed off the letter that I was sent. I've removed the profanity, as every 3 to 4 words were an F or a C bomb, and I cut this down to about half its length because of that. I also corrected the grammar, because if I'm going to read this, I am not going to read a grammatically incorrect hate letter. But you'll get the gist of what he's saying. So this was sent to me on Wattpad. What a waste you are. The only thing worse than your hackneyed, stupid, cliched stories is your fat, ugly face. The most amazing thing about you is you can't see the truth. You're a pathetic, talentless hack who is doomed for obscurity. You think Tura is special, but it isn't. It isn't even so bad it's good, it's just sad. Sad because you wasted all that time writing cold, bland, emotionless stories that are worse than eating a bowl of tacks and arsenic. You waste your readers' time, too, time that could be better spent watching the Kardashians or watching paint dry. I hate your stories. I think Tura sucks, but I pity you because you're so delusional. How does it feel to be nobody? I hope you like it because it's all you'll ever be. Now,
Whoa! That is so terrible.
This letter was...
Frick?
It felt like it had been made specifically. It hit every single one of my insecurities. Of course, it's like when you've got that imposter feeling. Anyway, it was devastating. He also sent me 5 messages detailing all of the problems with Tura, Identity Revealed. Things like, if a dragon could speak, its esophagus wouldn't allow it to pronounce words with certain letters.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious. This was
going to the anatomy of a dragon. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Not
It
a
was.
or anything. Like, has he actually been studying a dragon?
Apparently, he knows them. He's dissected them. There's it's just he went through it. And the thing was, it did get under my skin. And I've had a lot of other messages that do. It's just, I think it happens. And in dealing with this, one thing I've learned is that psychologically, these types of words, whether they're true or not, they have a deep impact, and they can be devastating. Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. But sometimes I think that advice blames people for feeling hurt, and pretending that something doesn't hurt doesn't make it not hurt. You really need to deal with that. You need to counter those bad statements. I mean, if it really doesn't hurt, that's great, then don't worry about it. But if it does, then you need to deal with it. And if there was anything good or constructive, like clearly there was nothing good or constructive in that.
Yeah, there was nothing constructive in that. I'm sorry.
If there was something, I could have taken that. But then if something false is stated, you need to contradict it. Tell yourself that you do matter and remember what makes you strong. And I think it's important to remember that these cruel words, or even careless words, they're like poison. So if you feel that sting, you need to treat them, counter them, and please, I know that it's, okay, we all want to be tough, oh, it doesn't affect me, I'm too big for this, it doesn't hurt. Don't pretend like it isn't a big deal if inside your heart is screaming and you're crying and you're dissolving into this little pile. Even when it's a little comment like says, you suck, or your book gets added to a list called crap books. If it hurts, you need to deal with it. And I think oftentimes we want to move on without first learning how to deal with the problem. And we don't learn to be strong by ignoring pain. We become strong by learning how to deal with the pain. So don't feel weak if it hurts or if it gets under your skin. Address it and get stronger from it.
That's great. That's better advice than I would give. I would say inhale a lot of helium and then read the comment again. And it will sound so ridiculous that you won't even be mad about it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I will say, if you can laugh about it, that's fantastic. Joking about people who make you miserable and mocking them feels like a very effective way to deal with them. So,
it's what is it? Pain plus time equals comedy. That's something. I don't know. David, can you give us an instance on this specific scenario about somebody getting underneath your skin and how you dealt with it?
It's a tough act to follow here. I don't know. I've had a lot of things. I had a lot of comments, and I think there's been things that have got under my skin, but I've been pretty good at putting them behind me pretty quickly. Either just saying, forget this and move on, or I go into some private group on Facebook or Wattpad where I have some friends and sort of rant about it and just get it off my chest, and then it's over the next day. So I don't really remember a lot of these things. I did have one troll who said that I was talentless and he wished I was dead, but that didn't bother me so much because it wasn't quite that personal, and it was only after about 500 words of my story, so I didn't really think it was a good judgment. But I think you do, as a writer, you have to sort of have the confidence to take these throwaway things like you suck or I don't like this and just go, well, that's just an opinion. It's a mean opinion, but, I know what my story is. I know what my writing is. Forget it. Move on. And then when it is something that's a bit more in depth and a bit more, I guess more of constructive criticism, where somebody's actually trying to say, well, look, you do this all the time in your writing and you really shouldn't. And I've had that. I think then you need sort of the humility to go, well, is this person right? If this person is actually trying to make the story better, maybe I should listen.
Provided that they have that constructive criticism. Absolutely, well, yeah. It can't be, oh, yeah, this sucks. Yeah, exactly how you said it,
Yeah, so, and that's it. I think, and that's it. One of the things on Wattpad, I've never had constructive criticism that was mean.
Right, because even if it's something that you might feel, a little insecure with, I guess, when you read it, oh man, I totally catch that, and yeah, it's something I need to
you
work
kind
on.
of wilt a little inside, but then you think about it, and you go, well, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that.
And I think that's the greatest thing about it, is the whole give and take between the audience and the writer, especially the ones who are just starting out. It's something that you can't beg, borrow, or steal for, especially if you have somebody that's religiously reading your work, chapter after chapter, and just says, oh, I really love this, and ooh, can you back off on this? And it's just my opinion kind of deal, but have you thought about it this way? I mean, those are really, really great readers. Camille, I know that you probably have some inner demons that you want to bash, but I got another question for you. A common piece of advice this month is write now, edit later. While this is good advice, it's not exactly specific. I mean, you're going to take the time to write something, or if you're going to take the time to write something, you're going to want to make sure it's not complete garbage. You want to ease up on the nitpicking, but not to the point where you end up with 50,000 disconnected words. How do you find that happy medium when writing a first draft?
When I write my first draft, whenever I stop and I take the night off or whatever, or the weekend off, and I go back to it, or a few hours off, I always make sure that I reread the chapter I'm working on to get myself in the mood, like others have mentioned before. And I think during that process, I do a quick little edit. I don't really worry about grammar, spelling, and stuff like that, just more story flow and if it's making sense. The only time I go back and read from the beginning of the book when I'm writing my first draft is if for some reason I've been pulled away from it for an extended period of time. Otherwise, I just do a short little reread before I get into it. I also, think it's important to have some sort of plan in mind before you start writing, and that way you can kind of keep yourself in check, make sure that you are going in the direction that you had planned to, but you have to also not be afraid to let yourself get taken in a different direction if it feels more exciting to you. I think it's also really important to be conscious of your crutches, the mistakes that you make often. Like, I've been noticing lately that in my first draft, someone is always shaking their head, or nodding their head, like they're nodding, like they could be nodding another part of their body. So now I'm trying to be really conscious when I write, just to say that they nod and not mention their GD head. But those are the little crutches I think you have to kind of keep yourself in check with. And then I think not so much for NaNoWriMo, but just in general when you're writing, I think Wattpad really helps because I basically put my rough draft up on Wattpad, but there is that little sense of editing where I kind of just do a quick read through of the chapter so I don't look like a complete moron before I post it. And that catches a lot of mistakes, and my wonderful readers do too. So I think with all these systems in place, I don't have to constantly reread and edit. I feel like I have a support team and structure set up that it's kind of a check and balance as I go.
Sure, and nothing will ever beat the support that you find with your readers.
True, absolutely. I mean,
that's just amazing. And I know that, when I think there's one device that you can do if you're kind of unsure that you're going to finish in general. Like, let's say that you're going to start a story tomorrow and you got, I don't know, like, I know some people, they're starting at the halfway mark of NaNoWriMo and still trying to get 50,000 words in, which is crazy. But it would be kind of cool to write your future self a note and stick it in a desk drawer and write it from the perspective that you are starting to lose faith in yourself for whatever reason. And before you even start writing the story, you list out, this is why I wanted to write this story in the first place, this is the passion that I had, and sometimes, I don't know, that whole, hi, future self, kind of, I don't know, I'm just talking to talk.
That's a cool idea, though.
Yeah.
So your little daily affirmation.
Yeah.
Right, just for yourself, that personal support. Yeah, absolutely. We have about 9 minutes left, and we got a few things to cover besides this, which is the next portion of the broadcast, which we call Pass Assault. It's 140 characters or less of an honest observation, opinion, quote, factoid, and this panel just gives me a few words, and they're usually fairly profound. So let's kick this off, Marion.
I would
Because it's fun this way. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Only you can write the story inside you. You and no one else. Don't let others change it and make it theirs.
Ooh, I love that. That last little part is like, don't make others change. Oh, ooh, yeah, good. That's great. You had nothing to be nervous about. Give me a break. Jessica.
All right, well, my path to salt is we don't learn to be strong writers by ignoring pain. We become strong writers by learning how to deal with pain and then growing.
Absolutely. So true. David!
So I wanted to give this out for NaNoWriMo, and I don't want to take credit for it because it's not my bit of wisdom, but I couldn't find the actual source or the actual quote that I had originally read who knows how long ago. But it's... you won't understand your story until it's written.
Yeah.
And it is something, if NaNoWriMo is the first time you're writing a book or something, do yourself a favor and finish it, because it is something you'll learn more from finishing that first book about writing than anything else. And one of those things is that, really you don't have a full grasp of the story until you hit, like, that last line.
Yeah, to be able to write the end. Super important.
Yeah.
Yes, Camille.
Mine is from Robert Hughes, going on with doubt and what have you that we've been talking about today. And he says, perfect confidence is granted to the less talented as a consolation prize. So take that, self-doubt.
That is awesome. That is so great. Thank you so much, panel. We are scooting over to the portion of the broadcast which we call Check Please. It's just a wrap-up and summation of everything that happened tonight. We hope that you got a lot out of it about, just battling everything from the people that belittle your work all the way to the person in the writer's chair, you, who's kind of giving yourself a hard time for no reason. Hopefully you can take away some of these amazing tips that this panel has put together for you and continue writing. That's, I think everybody on the panel can agree. The best way to work it out is by writing it out and keep it on going. So that being said, we do want to let you know that they, not only is it NaNoWriMo, but every single month Wattpad has the Just Write It challenge, and I know that it's centered around NaNoWriMo. It's 50,000 words. I know there's some different restraints and things like that, but it's still an amazing experience. You can take the pledge tonight if you're really, really gung-ho about it, and we wish you the best of luck. I do want to give the floor, just for a moment, to Ms. Jessica Fry to tell us all about the Watt Padres, this amazing contest that they have going on. I believe it's ending at 11:59 tonight, and they have their Twitter chats on Tuesday. Jessica.
Yes, indeed. Well, tonight, the Magnificent Makeover Contest, in which you can get a total makeover of your profile, including a cover, I believe. You can enter into the competition. It's on the Watt Padres Wattpad page. You can find it under WPC 2014 or search for Watt Padres. And it's open until 11:59 tonight, Eastern Standard Time. It's pretty easy to enter. You can nominate up to 2 stories, one of which being yours and somebody else. So you don't have to choose between supporting yourself and someone else.
You can do it together!
That's
now,
right!
Okay, the makeover thing. This is pretty amazing. For those of you who do not know, what does this makeover consist of in total?
Let's see. I'm going to pull that up here real quick. Make sure that I tell you everything. I know that there is a blurb and a revision.
I think there is a cover, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a cover because we actually do
That's
have in the groups some writers who actually do graphic design and are quite fantastic. Well, I mean, we think they're all fantastic. But anyway, here we go. Make sure I've got this right here. This is what you can win in our competition. You will automatically be added into the reader list. We're compiling everyone who's involved in it, and then we're all going to give a shout out. As for what you can win, the grand prize winner will get a chapter in the contest book dedicated to their profile, a profile banner, and a book cover. Sorry, it wasn't an either or, it's both.
Wow.
A new book blurb, and a couple of us will be critiquing the first chapter. I believe I'm one of those who will be critiquing a chapter, and I'm constructive and kind, but I will also
she's not going to tell you to swallow tax.
Very good.
Yeah, I will break it down, and then some shout-outs. We're all going to shout out the winner on social media, and some free ebooks. So you don't have to take these prizes if you don't want to, but that's what's included in our grand prize package. So we are very excited about that, and if you nominated someone who wins, since, you know, the person who wins gets that, but the nominating person will also get a first chapter critique and a free ebook as well.
That's great.
So,
It's such a really, really unique prize, you know? I mean, some people, they don't have access to a graphic designer, or they can't seem to get their blurb right to save their life. They can't focus and condense their story down to, you know, just that one paragraph or those few lines. So that's just such a really, really great time. Tuesday night, I believe you have a Twitter chat going on, correct?
Yes, we do. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about NaNoWriMo. I get to host this time, and I'm trying to come up with a crazy game to find out what's going to keep you from finishing your NaNoWriMo. It might be clowns, or it might be getting stuck in a hot air balloon. I don't know. I'll have to look into the future and see what happens.
It might be studying dragons and figuring out anatomy of the dragon.
Or maybe you were dissecting a dragon and it ate you. It's the only way you'd know if a dragon can't pronounce the letter R.
Yeah. We're going to have a lot of fun with that, I think, for a few episodes now. Okay, so I do want to let you know that right after this, in about 3 minutes, the Word Nerds are over on their channel on YouTube, and I know that they're doing something with NaNoWriMo. Again, I'm not exactly sure what it is. I know that Jody Petrella always seems to know, so if you have any questions about it, go over and talk to her. She's on Twitter, she's on Wattpad, she's on YouTube. She's amazing. Thank you so much, Jody, for providing us with amazing information on a weekly basis. And we do want to let you know that the Wattpad 4 amazing women that just are incredible giants on Wattpad, host a Twitter chat every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I know that they also are doing NaNoWriMo things for their Twitter chats. Like the Watt Padres, they're hour-long, but they go by so fast, and there's so much interaction. If you haven't experienced one, try it out. I guarantee you will fall in love with not just, you know, the incredible people of the Wattpad 4 and the Watt Padres, but the people that are, you know, really, really giving into that conversation. It's pretty unique. So with that being said, I think we got it all covered. Panel, if you'd please say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.